It's your girl Ebony with Positive Mind Frame. Clock in while I get your mind sane. First off, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. So thank you. I appreciate it so much. Definitely comment, share, subscribe if you do find this video helpful and also influential. Share it to your best friend, your mama, your dad, your siblings, your best friend, your assistants, your coworkers, whoever that you feel this message is for. Like I say in my previous video, that of course monetary gain and subscribers are great, but my influence is a bigger purpose. So please let my words speak to you in some way. If it impacts you in some way, please share it. Please tell somebody at work, tell somebody in your home, maybe tell your dog too, because my dog ain't been listening lately. So we need some little positivity with her. Her name is Sailor, by the way. That's my honey. And she'll be 2 on Tuesday. But anyway, I am going to be talking about the ups and downs of being a positive person. I do want your feedback as well. Please drop it in the chat what your point of views are. What are the ups of being a positive person and what are the downs of being a positive person? I am a learner. I would love to get you guys' opinion, your point of view. I can learn something from you guys as well. So please let me know in the chat. So starting off again, my name is Ebony. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to my newly YouTube channel. Like I said, I know that I have been a positive person most of my life, and have I gone through some things? Absolutely. I'm human. I have emotions. I have all these other things that other humans have. Most of my life I have been a positive person, or my way of thinking is very different. So with that, I'll give you a little background. So again, my name's Ebony. I was born and raised in Nebraska. Yes, there are chocolate people here. Hints. And I look like a dreamsicle today, by the way. A little orange cream. But anyway, I was born and raised in Nebraska. And shout out to my church, Ambassadors Worship Center. I love you guys. It's on Fort Street, by the way. So please check out Ambassadors Worship Center. If you have not gone there, please go. It's a great kingdom message, and you will definitely go. So I started going to church around 9 or 10. I remember the pastor always saying that the death in life is in the tongue. And I kind of took it literally, because it's like, number one, I don't want to die, or I don't want somebody else to die because of my words. The life and death is in the power of the tongue. And the way that you give those gifts to somebody, do you want to speak death or do you want to speak life? So that was the foundation of me being positive in a way, as I've gotten older to understand it. So I've always wanted to give people life-changing words, not to be judgmental, intentionally, not to be judgmental, because you can always fall into that same situation. Like, let's say that you judging somebody because they got into a car accident and something happened with them physically. Maybe their arm fell off, got cut off, a limb was broken, shattered, or just lost a voice, whatever. You could be in that same situation too. And Bookie, I'm not here for it. So judging people is something that could definitely occur. So you're giving off that gift of judgment, which is practically death. Like, you're wishing death on somebody. Also, another thing is that I wanted to be encouraging. Like, I never wanted to disappoint people, especially my parents. Started off young. I've done a lot of childhood I wouldn't say thorough, but I've started doing a lot of childhood healing within myself. So I never wanted to disappoint my parents, number one. So that was a big one. So if mom and dad was happy, I was okay. Like, I knew I wasn't going to need a whipping for the day. I knew that I wasn't going to be grounded. And my parents' punishment was like, you have to stay in your room all day and no sweets. So, you know, I like me a little Reese. I like me a little Kit Kat, you know, and that's just something that I love. So if you're grounded for getting in trouble, getting too many calls home, I'm telling you repeatedly to do something, you're just being defiant and not doing it, like, you're going to get on punishment. Or you're just doing something outrageous, you're going to be on punishment. So I made sure that I was on my P's and Q's, because number one, I hated disappointment on my parents' faces. So when I would get in trouble, what I used to do was I used to write letters, and, you know, I'm crying and sobbing, and if their door was shut, I'll slid the letter underneath the door. But also, like, I would come and apologize. And still to this day, I don't like disappointing people, which I'll get into a little later. But that started with people pleasing. And I did not know that until recently. And I talked to my mom about it too. And it was just building up that I did not know until recently. I am actually reading this book, Authentically Uniquely You by Joyce Meyer. So far, it has broken a lot of mindset strongholds or just barriers so far, and just really accepting myself the way God sees me, and also believing what how he built me and how I'm wired. So all in all, like I said, it started from childhood with people pleasing with my parents, which isn't a bad thing for parents. I just knew what to do and what not to do. So they had boundaries. That's strictly okay. But also getting older, going to church now. So I'm giving the words of life, like gifts. So it's like, hey, like, you're amazing. You're great. Hey, if you gave up on this, try it again. You're beautiful. Like, just giving words of life. And I've always been that way. So I think that was my foundation. So the great things of being positive is like you're able to give words of life, not only to other people, but also to yourself, because you deserve everything in life and you deserve every affirmation that you're giving somebody else. If you're telling other people you're beautiful, you need to tell that to yourself. You tell other people that you are so bold, you're so courageous, tell that to yourself. And I'm actually starting to do that just to be more confident and to be more bold, especially in presence. That's hence I'm wearing the orange, bold, creamsicle, beauty. Also that you want to give life to other people, so give life back into yourself because you deserve it. Also, with being positive, people want to call you the light. Like, they love being around you. And who doesn't want to be loved on? Who doesn't want people to be around them, because you bring such an aura to other people. You have that contagious effect on other people. That's quite all right. Maybe they see something in you that they want, but also you have to be mindful of that too, which I'll get here in a little bit. So being that aura, being that light, being that attraction, it feels great because it's like, okay, like, I'm making a difference. Yes, I feel like I may stand out from other people, but people like me because of me, maybe because of my likeness, maybe because of a light that's shining through me. And that's okay, because God had built that in you for a reason. I believe that he put a light in everybody. It just, you have to be the one to figure out what that light is. So for me, how I found more of my light is that I have always been told I'm not a judgmental person. Also that I'm able to give sound advice without being judgmental, but I'm also very encouraging. I remember in college, yes, I'm showing my age a little bit, leave me alone, that I would send motivational messages, text messages to each person. Or sometimes, usually I copy and paste and send it. But number one, freshman year, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm away. I was only an hour away, guys. Hour away from my parents. I knew some people. I had a really great church family. Again, shout out to AWC, who checked on me, called me, dropped me off some food. They did everything to make sure that I was okay. But that was also to send that light and that love back out to other people, and people appreciated it. Though I didn't know the people that I was sending to, I really didn't know what they were maybe internally going through, but they always said that they loved the messages, and that's what kind of kept me going. I still send off motivational messages to this day, because I'm 32 years old now, and baby, life be lifing, and I'm gonna need some motivation for myself too. So that is another way to kind of get the light out, to kind of get your light influence with other people, even those within your circle as well. So I started doing that. I just be really cautious of what I say to people. Very cautious. Sometimes people may take it as me like withholding something or withholding back true opinions, which I've gotten better at. It's like, girl, like, you shouldn't do that. Or even me telling myself, like, if you're getting too over this, like, you need to cut it out. Or to other people, it's like, okay, like, you've done, like, what I say is I have seen a pattern. And I feel that is more mature. And actually, someone actually told me about patterns a few years ago, which I will get into definitely in some videos down the line. But when you're able to express patterns to people, they are more aware of what the issue is of what they are doing. So definitely use the words, hey, I've noticed a pattern with you, X, Y, and Z, instead of you didn't do this and you didn't come, because maybe like subconsciously they not know, they're not aware. So you could bring up examples like, hey, I've seen this pattern with you not showing up to my baby shower, you didn't show up to my graduation, you're not showing up to my housewarming, you're not showing up to these important events. Am I important? So you could point out certain things in a loving way. As you get older, I'm finding out at age 32, it's a little bit more blunt, a little bit. It's like, okay, what's going on with you? What we doing? So those are some ups. What else can I say about you being the ups of being positive? You're just very optimistic of people, and I am. I take after my dad's heart for sure. I want to see the good in people, because in my mind I can see them overcoming it, and it's like I can't wait to celebrate you when you over that hump. But I'm going to keep pushing you, I'm going to keep encouraging you until you get over it, because I see it. Like, I see it. Some people's like can say, well, I don't see myself getting over it, like it's done, it's over, like I'm tired, I'm not even gonna try again. In my mind, I'm like, just give it one more try. You got it. I'm gonna be here supporting you. You can do it. We're gonna do it together as much as I can, because I can visually see that. And like my closest friends, or some of my closest friends, think me being optimistic is a great trait, but it gets on their nerves because they're wired differently. I'm just wired to the point where I can see this happening. Let's go. Even with myself, when I feel like I'm doubting myself and I want to give up, okay, Ebony, like, you have to get up and get it. Come on, let's go. Like, give it one more time, one more day, let's go. So that's how I'm kind of wired. And those are the ups of being a positive person. There's nothing wrong with being positive. There's nothing wrong with being the optimistic person. There's nothing wrong with you standing out. And for me, I know that I stand out for a definite good reason. That's why I am the way I am. And of course, there's much more for me to learn more about myself. But to the root of me, I know that I'm wired that way, and I'm okay with that. But the downside of being a positive person, you can be manipulated. I've noticed that because people expect you to say yes all the time. Like, trust me, I come from a big family. To me, it's a big family. And sometimes when certain people want you to do things and they're so used to you saying yes, and then they bring up like, oh, well, Ebony, you used to do this, and it's not no more. Nope. So then, like, when the tables start to turn a little bit, and then they're like, oh, okay, so what's wrong with you? I'm just not going to do it because they're so used to you being the yes person. And that's okay. That's okay if they try to kind of make you say yes all the time. You know what? They're going to keep coming to you. But for me, for holidays, people know I am not going to clean up because I hate a mess. And if my parents, most of the time they cook, I'm going to help clean up. So sometimes like my siblings will want to pay me because they know I'm going to clean the kitchen, but thank you for your coin at the same time. So they're going to keep coming to you because they know that it's something that you're going to say yes to when you really don't want to do it. Example, there's this sweet person at my job, sweet as pie. She's very great. But one time I remember that everybody praised her for coming in to work because they all had their Starbucks order ready. Because they know when she goes on break, she's going to give everybody their Starbucks order. Of course, they're going to pay her for her time. But every time, oh, come here. I can't wait to see you. When are you going to go on break? And I remember asking her, I said, hey, do you always want to go and get Starbucks for people? She said no, because it takes out of my lunch or my break time. I said, then just tell them no. And she'll go, well, no, like, I really struggle with that. And that's okay. Me personally, I do too. And I'm breaking out of that bit by bit, especially with that Joyce Meyer book as well, The Authentically Uniquely You, which I highly recommend. I'm still reading it, and it comes with a study guide. I'll definitely insert it as well in the description. But she goes, no, like, I'm always a nice person, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. If you got time to work and you on a break, you can go over there and head on out. So I've been kind of talking with her a little bit. I don't see her too often now, different schedules, but that's just something that people are willing and waiting for you to say yes to anything that they ask for. And that is a form of manipulation, especially if you're not aware of it. So just be mindful that you have to establish boundaries, which is a future video coming up. But I'll say this: know your boundaries. When you start setting boundaries, people may look at you differently. Let's say that the girl at work, she starts saying no to people. They're gonna look at her like, oh, well, what's wrong with you? You always did it. It's a new leaf. I'm turning over a new leaf. I don't want to do it. I want to enjoy my lunch. I want to enjoy my break. If I want Starbucks, I better get it before or after work. I'm not here for it. Let you go find somebody else to be a yes man too. Know your boundaries and know your worth. So another downside with being positive is that people will manipulate. Same thing with being a yes man. People will manipulate. Just because they feel that you are too green and that they will be pleased at everything because you want to cater to people's needs. You want to cater to making sure that they're not mad at you, and that you are willing to pick up the pieces of their madness just for their own sanity. And I think that's insanity. Now I'm getting older and I've dealt with that. I remember I was in a relationship 6 years ago, about 6 years ago. And I definitely was a people pleaser to him. So it's like, okay, well, you're like mad at me. Well, let me just make sure I walk on eggshells with you until I found my voice one day. That's all I'll say for now. But trust me, I'll get more into that. So it's more of you are not bound by somebody's madness, especially if you're a people pleaser. Don't be bound by somebody's madness, their anger, how they're going to feel. If it's not for you, it's not for you. And also the downside of being a people pleaser is that you will not fully know who you are until you break out of it. Like I said, I'm still on my journey. But once you know who you are, you'll be able to draw the lines. Draw the lines on things to protect you, your peace, your mental, your spiritual self, and you just as a person. So until then, you will always be in somebody else's shadow that God didn't intend you to be in. Boundaries are set up for a reason, so they can protect the other person, also protect you. Because if God wanted a copy, I'm sure that there will be a lot of people look like me and you out here in this world with the same thinking, the same voice, the same looks, the same how we write. God didn't make you a copy. Don't be somebody else's shadow. You are too unique and too great for that. And you are too valued for that as well. So don't be in nobody else's shadow. Know when to say no. Create boundaries. Know what you're doing, especially with intent. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to roll my eyes in the back of my head like that. So just get to know of who you are, because being the downside of being a positive person as a people pleaser, you will always be in somebody else's shadow and you're not shining through your authentically, uniquely self. And that's something that I've learned too. So if people get mad at you for saying no, oh well, you be all right. I got things to do anyway. Holla. So those are just a few things that I definitely wanted to kind of hit on today. If things I didn't talk about, please drop them below. Again, it's Ebony. Oh, I'm here on Mondays. Please tune in for Wisdom Slap Wednesdays with Mama T. On Wednesdays, she's going to give you some good gems. She's going to drop them for you. And just remember that you are loved. You are enough. No, I said that wrong. And 3 things to remember. What are they? You are loved, you are valued, and you are enough. And keep a positive mind frame. Holla.